think you're live already.
Oh, hello. We are live on Social Day Facebook page. Hi, everyone. My name's Lucy Hall, and I'm joined with Chris Ducker, who is also known as the Virtual CEO, best-selling author, founder of Yourepreneur, founder of the Yourepreneur Summit, which is happening in November, keynote speaker around the world and at Social Day.
Yes.
Top business podcaster, and many other things, I'm sure. Do you want to elaborate on that, Chris?
No, because you did such a great job.
Thank you.
No, I'm now officially to the point where I feel like I don't want to let you down. That's the most important thing. So whatever questions you anticipate asking me, make them easy ones so that I can perform well for you.
I'm sure you'll perform well anyway. So, Chris, at Social Day, you're going to be talking about launching live, how to profit from live online video, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you some questions based around that, around live streaming and how people can get started and the kind of things that they can do. So my first question to you is, what are the benefits of live stream for business?
Oh, it's P2P all the way. You know, this is my business building, relationship building philosophy is P2P. It stands for people to people. And so I'm a big believer that this type of medium that we have nowadays in regards to live streaming is probably not necessarily the easiest way to build those kind of relationships, but certainly the most beneficial way. Because other than literally inserting people into your ears, you know, and having them listen to you, literally you're in their head. You're actually in their ears with their headsets. Other than podcasting, I do believe that live streaming is probably like the best type of relationship building that you can get online. We have the ability to not only obviously share our knowledge and provide value to the people that tune into our streams, but also we have the ability to show the real us, because there's no cloak and dagger act here, right? There's no smoke and mirrors. It is what it is. What you see is what you get kind of thing. There's no editing. There's no do-overs. And I think people know that. They can understand that it's raw, it's unedited, and it's all you all the time. You might be able to put on a front for a while, but sooner or later, the front will slowly slip away and the real you will come out. And so I think that's one of the reasons why I love live streaming so much. It's just a great way to be able to not only, like I said, provide value, but really to be able to get to the point where you're building up great relationships. And that is the long game approach to entrepreneurship that so many people are now not focusing on. And I'm not going to go into a rant, but they're not. They're trying to go the short way. They're trying to take shortcuts to business success, and they might make a little money for a short space of time, but sooner or later they're going to fall flat on their face and they're going to be left with nothing. So I'm all about the long game. I'm all about P2P, and that's why I love live streaming.
So live stream's a great way to build relationships with people, and it's all about the relationships and that kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So then, what about people who are a little bit shy in front of the camera, or they're a bit worried about kind of talking to people like this on camera? Do you think they should be doing it as well, or do you think they should get someone else to do it? Or
well, I mean, obviously, if you're in a bigger company or something like that, you can have somebody else who maybe is a little bit more extroverted, a little bit more outgoing do it. That's fine. But let me tell you something, introverted, shy, quiet, reserved, whatever you want to call it, people love that. They eat it up. Like there's another specific reason why we like people that aren't like me, for example. Like I'm quite outgoing, quite loud, quite in your face, a little brash every now and then. I'm like Marmite. You're either going to like me or you're going to hate me, one or the other, right? So, but other people that are out there that are quite shy and quite reserved, man, people fall in love with people like that. A lot easier than falling in love with people like me and other extroverts. So I think that if you can get over that shyness and that reservation to be in front of the camera and just be yourself at the end of the day, it will serve you really, really well in the long run.
Okay, that's really, really good advice. So this is a bit of a loaded question, so I don't expect you to answer. It's a bit loaded. Right, how do you launch a business through live streaming?
Wow, that is loaded. Right up to the hilt loaded, isn't it? It really, and obviously we don't want to give too much away because we want people to come to Social Day so I can actually show them the step by step, which is what I'll be doing. Let's just cover this very quickly as we're on the subject, because you've given me the loaded question here right out the gate rather. What I will be doing at Social Day is showing you exactly how I launched yourepreneur.com, which is my online mastermind community for personal brand entrepreneurs. So if you think of people like experts, coaches, consultants, bloggers, podcasters, speakers, authors, those kind of people that ultimately build a business based around them and their expertise, that's what yourepreneur.com is. And I launched Yourepreneur in September of 2015 entirely on, wait for it, Periscope.
Oh, really?
Wasn't even Facebook Live. In fact, actually at the time, Facebook Live, although it was only around for personal brands and personalities, celebrities, that kind of thing. It wasn't en masse like it is now. So Periscope was kind of, and you had your own TV show. You had your own TV show right here in your pocket all the time. And I went hard on Periscope, and I launched an entire business model with live video on Periscope. And that is actually what I will be showing everybody at Social Day, is exactly how I did that step by step, warts and all. I'm giving everything away, like everything, even the numbers, even the money I made. And I never talk about money online. It's just one of those things. I just don't do it. So that's what I'm going to be doing. But in a nutshell, how do you launch a business through live streaming? By creating connections and relationships, by listening to the people that tune in to what you've got to say, by being consistent, by then acting on the information that you gain from listening to people, and then producing solutions to their problems, for which, if you do it well enough, you get the opportunity to put a price tag on. And once you do that, not only are you solving the problem for the people that are tuning in, but also obviously you're making money as a business owner at the same time. Everybody's happy. Thank you for playing. That's the short version, but the long version will be in London's at Social Day.
This is going to be unmissable, I think. This sounds really, really good.
I should bloody well hope so. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, Chris, you've built this amazing community up using Livestream. Is there other things that you can do using Livestream? Can you launch say there's a hairdresser down the road or something like that, they've got a salon or something like that, can they be using Livestream to launch new products and services or tell people about things? How would that work?
I think anyone making, creating, promoting, marketing, selling, anything can be using live video. I mean, it really is as simple as just grabbing your phone at the end of the day. It doesn't need to be a sexy setup like this with a great big mic and all that kind of stuff. It can just be your phone. So for example, to use your example as of the hairdresser, why not go live on Facebook on a special day where it's 50% off on all of your blow dries at the salon? Come in anytime between noon and 6 p.m., 50% off all blow dries. You get a ton of people in there and you have someone live streaming it on and off throughout the course of the day. It's great publicity to go live on. And then obviously you can get to the opportunity of not only showing people your business and how great your blow dries are, and obviously I'm in drastic need of one myself, but then you also have the ability to be able to then, from a Facebook ad perspective, you have the ability to be able to go ahead and actually retarget the people that have viewed that live video as well. And that's where the money is right there. Once you start retargeting your video viewers on Facebook, a whole completely different ball game begins, because now you know that they're interested. Now you know that they've watched they've watched your video. They understand what you're all about. They understand what you can do to support them, to help them, regardless of whether you're blow drying their hairs or teaching their dog how to sit, or whatever the case may be. You know what I would love to see? I'd like to see restaurant owners using live video a lot more. I want to see cameras in the damn kitchen. Show me how you're making that pasta.
Yeah.
Show me how you're stirring the sauce. I want to see those things. You know, they will say the secret is in the sauce. Show me the sauce. Show me.
So it's not so much of a mystery anymore.
Exactly.
Oh, that's
and it gets people talking. It gets people talking about you and what you're doing. And that, you know, at the very core of what we do from a social media perspective is that is what it is. We want people to not only consume what we're putting out there, but we want people to share what we're putting out there, right? The consumption economy that social media has led to has got to the point now where after our own ideas and opinions, we're way more likely to not only take on board and appreciate, but also understand the opinions of those others that we're connected to on social. So it's not just about consuming, it's about sharing as well. And that's when, you know, you get that kind of viral approach of building your business as well.
Of course. Well, at the last social day, we talked a lot about people sharing this crappy, colourful content all over the place just for the sake of it. Just sharing, and it's got no use to anybody. It's just these quotes and that kind of thing that's never going to help anybody, with no real reason. They're just creating content for the sake of creating content. Do you think that there's a chance that people could end up doing that with Livestream? Could they just be creating things for the sake of creating things and talking for the sake of it? Do you think they should adopt some kind of a strategy to make sure people are not just live streaming and talking utter nonsense?
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, the fact is, unfortunately, it's already bloody well happening. That's the bad thing. It's already happening. We should say hello to everybody tuning in. I'm getting little messages up. I don't know whether you can see them, Lucy, but I keep getting messages from people
I can
saying
see them
hello.
Now. Sorry. I can see them now. Hi, Lawrence. Thank you for tuning in. Hey, Stuart.
Hello, everybody. Meet Lucy, your gracious host, everyone.
I didn't see this before. I'm so sorry. Hey, Amrit. Hey, Yusuf, how are you, Mr. Chris Ducker? Yeah, I miss Periscope. He says he misses Periscope.
There you go. See, that's what we're talking about. But yeah, it's already happening. People are already going live just for the sake of going live, and maybe actually, not maybe. I know for sure there are several people that are going live purely just so they can retarget their live viewers when they do their next launch or their next promotion or whatever the case may be. And the content's wishy-washy, it's crappy. And look, I'll call a spade, I'll call BS when I see BS. It is what it is. If you do that, I'm telling you right now, it's going to not only hurt your business, it'll hurt your brand, it'll hurt your reputation, and it's not serving anyone in any way, shape, or form. We got to serve first, sell later. And I think a lot of people are losing track of that in the online business space. It's all about the launch, the emails, the funnels, which is all required. But at the end of the day, if you don't create real relationships with people and provide people with great value, then you're not going to become somebody's favorite. And that's what we want to do. We want to become somebody's favorite live streamer, podcaster, blogger, YouTuber, whatever it is. And you can't do that by putting out weak, crappy content just for the sake of it. So unfortunately, it's already happening. That's the fact. The good news is that people are way, way smarter today than they were 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 10 years ago. I think that ultimately what will happen is these kind of fakers to your makers kind of people will very slowly but surely disappear over a short space of time. And it's not going to be a matter of, if they will disappear, it's going to be a matter of when, because you can't continue putting out weak, crappy content and expect to get away with it for very long. People are just too smart. Their BS indicators are too sensitive nowadays.
I sometimes feel like some of the content that's shared on Facebook based around, have a 7-figure income and all of this kind of thing, I sometimes think it's kind of aimed at the weak and vulnerable people who are kind of looking for that dream, and they'll spend their last money on trying to, do what this person's saying, and then nothing ever comes of it. Which is why we have this community that helps people, nurtures people, and doesn't just kind of sell some kind of a course.
Yeah, and we were talking before we hit the live button here from one event organizer to another that, all these events where it's, come to our event, it's free, or come to our event and it's £50 or whatever it is. And then you turn up and there's no content. It's all pictures. It's, buy my 5,000, property investment course. It's £5,000, but today only. You can get in the back of the room for £300. Give me a break, mate. We're not that idiotic. You know what I mean? So I like I said, I call BS when I see it, and I'm quite happy to do it. I'm too old not to. I'm quite long in the tooth with this stuff, and if it ruffles a few feathers, and so be it. But ultimately, you have to understand that, again, people are too smart nowadays. Social media has developed itself into a place where you just can't get away with anything anymore. My very, very good friend, Jay Beer from Convince and Convert over in the US, wrote a great book called Hug Your Haters. Absolutely recommended reading all the way for anybody running any kind of business, particularly one that kind of revolves around the internet a lot. Hug Your Haters. It's a great book. And Jay talks about how, you can't ignore complaints anymore. You can't put out poor quality customer service and expect to get away with it. So I think ultimately we live in a time nowadays where it's never been better to be an entrepreneur. Because of all the great technology that we have at our disposal to get the word out, to market our business, to talk about how great we are and how great our products are. However, unfortunately, the flip side of that coin is that the entry barrier to do this, to call yourself an entrepreneur, is at the very same time at an all-time low. And so it's the good guys that will shine, and the bad guys will hopefully not shine for very long if they do start shimmering.
Well, when people start up, then how can they ensure that they are actually, rising above all of this stuff? How can they ensure that they are actually, doing the right thing for their communities and also to build a community?
Well, they can be themselves at the end of the day. Do you know there's a great big question on the screen here? I've just noticed it.
Sorry, I'm really rubbish. Really, really rubbish host of this live today.
Wouldn't it be great if that question from Lawrence, and thank you for the compliment on the nice setup, Lawrence, but wouldn't it be good if that question is literally like right across both of our faces? Is it? I don't think it is.
I put it there. And then I just...
That's great. Oh, that's so good.
Sorry, Lawrence. Your question is very important to us. Chris.
See, I'm looking at this on my phone now. We look okay now. We look okay now. That's good. All right. Sorry.
Do you want to answer that one, Chris? We've got to serve the community first.
Yes, we do. Okay, so that looks like a very professional setup. What recommended equipment-wise, please? Okay, so look, honestly, yes, it's a little bit sexy. I've got one of these, one of these mics that they use on. I could be like, well, welcome to radio, social day radio, and doing all that stuff. It's really not that impressive. It just hangs off the edge of my desk. And it's sort of just, it's here and it is what it is kind of thing. Look, you don't need a lot actually to do what we're doing right now. All you really need is just a laptop and a pair of headphones. What really matters in regards to your setup is, again, the value that you bring to the people that tune in. You can have all the sexy equipment in the world, but if you don't know what the heck you're talking about, or if you're doing it coming from the wrong place, for the wrong reasons, then you're a fraud and people are going to smell it out anyway. So, but to answer your question very directly, Lawrence, this is an Audio-Technica microphone. It's a USB mic. I don't have a sexy sound board or anything like that. It plugs straight into the back of my computer, which is an iMac 27-inch in case you're interested. And then I just have this little camera here that sits on the top of my iMac here, which is a Logitech HD webcam. Both of these pieces of kit cost less than $200 combined, so it's not a lot of money, but it does look very, very good though, doesn't it? Let's not look at that. That is a good. And I feel like I want to break into that radio DJ voice one more time, because it's way more impressive than it really is looking. Trust me. Well, what was your other question, Lucy?
Oh my goodness, I don't remember now. I'm so sorry. And Yusuf is saying something.
Oh no, you were talking. You were talking about Yusuf. What's up, brother? I'm going to get to you in a minute. Yusuf has been following me online for ages. He's a great guy. I know what you asked me. You asked me, how can people starting out make sure that they don't go down that kind of negative road of just putting stuff out for the sake of it? The fact is this, actually, it's way easier than a lot of people think it is, and that is just be you. That's it.
There you go. Thanks,
don't try. And, Gary always talks about this, and we've had conversations, he and I, about this as well. Just don't do me, do you, is what he says. And it's very, very true. You look at somebody like Gary, and you see all of the daily V's and all of the hustle and the grind and all that kind of stuff. And I love Gary, and he's a great guy, and we spent lots of time together. But the fact of the matter is that I am not working 16, 17 hours a day. It doesn't interest me in any way, shape, or form. But I do know that what you see with Gary online is exactly what you get in real life. I know that from personal relationships with him, right? So that's it is what it is. However, other people are not like that. I have met many other people that I've initially discovered online that when I've met them face to face in person have been a completely different type of person. So I would say that just be you, be the best version of you that you can be when you start out, because people will love you for that, and they will tune in, and they will, as long as you're consistent with showing up, they will be consistent in showing up for you. And I think that's important. Yeah. Great. Yusuf's got a question.
Okay. He says, serve first and sell later. Love it. All those technical stuff with sale funnels or bucket funnel or whoever made up that word to become genius and panic, it's becoming pointless.
It is becoming pointless. And actually, I will say that also these huge launches that you see, and this is a rant, like I am halfway through a blog post right now, which will probably end up being about 2,500 words by the time I'm done with it. I have become extremely disillusioned with quote unquote launches. And true transparency, I'm bang smack in the middle of one right now, and it's going very, very well. But it's way too much work for my liking. Way too much work for my liking. And I'm going to stop it. I'm going to stop them. I'm going to put all of my products and services on an evergreen type basis. I'm going to stop the whole open and closed door situation. And I feel like we're doing this because everyone else is doing it. It's what's expected of us as online entrepreneurs. And I don't think it's going to work for much longer. I think particularly the entrepreneurial market online has become very wise to it, which is another reason why entrepreneurial type webinars are nowhere near as successful as what they were 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago. And so, things evolve. It's called life. It's called changing. It is what it is. But I think that at the end of the day, if you want to be around doing what you want to do 10 years from now, you have to start as you mean to go on. And I think it's very, very important to not only acknowledge that when you start out, but also to kind of almost remind yourself of that as you continue to grow as well.
Okay, that's really, really good advice. Thank you, Chris. Yusuf is asking, how many times would you recommend doing live streaming and for how long?
So I think I don't think that, the actual number of live streams that you do on a regular basis is as important as obviously the quality that you provide when you're on the live streams, but more importantly, the consistency behind the live streams themselves. If you say you're going to go live Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 5 p.m., you better go live Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 5 p.m. And not just 1 or 2 times, 1 or 2 weeks. I mean, consistently do it week in, week out, month in, month out. When I was active on Periscope, and I'll talk about this at Social Day, when I was active on Periscope, I was on at 9 p.m. Eastern US time every single day, Monday to Friday, for months and months, before I tried to launch a business on it. And that was, you know, I went from 0 to over 15,000 followers in the matter of months because I was consistent. So the consistency is number one. The second part of the strategy, if you want to call it that, attached to this is not only being consistent with the time and the days that you go live on, but also understand that there is no actual real number that you should be concerned about in regards to the length of your live streams either. How short or long is a piece of string? Yeah. Your live streams should be as short or as long as they need to be in order to be able to provide the value that you're going live to provide. So, you know, I've done some live streams that have been 4 minutes long, but I've done some that have been 2 hours long before. So, you know, it really depends on what you're doing and the format that you're using and all that sort of type of thing. And we'll see that live streaming in general will actually evolve very, very rapidly in the next year and a half, 2 years or so. We've got to the point where so much has happened in the last 12 months. The next year and a half or so, things are going to move at a blistering pace. And I feel like pretty much anyone with a webcam and a decent microphone is going to be almost like a TV producer if they want to, in regards to what's possible. You know, Be Live is a perfect example. They weren't even around a few months ago. Here they are. And you've got all these cool little lower thirds and you can plug in, you know, questions and all this sort of type of thing. Things are changing and they're changing very, very rapidly. You won't necessarily need all the bells and whistles, but at the end of the day, some of them are going to come in handy if you want to sort of take things up a notch or 10. Okay,
that's, again, really, really good advice. So what's happened to Periscope, Chris? Like, are you not on there anymore, or is it still going? Are people still using it? Like, what's happened?
Periscope, you know, Periscope is still going. I'm personally not on it that often anymore. Okay. I tend to, you know, I break online video up into a couple of different categories, right? So the first category is really YouTube, and that's more evergreen content that I want to have up on the internet to be able to link to be able to embed on my site and things like that. Then there's, you know, live, what I call live online video, and that's exactly what we're doing right now. So mostly when I do something like that, it is now normally 9 times out of 10 here on Facebook. But then there's also what I call social live. Now, you might be thinking, well, hang on, what's Facebook if it's not social live? Well, this is just one man's opinion, the way that I break them down. So you've got evergreen, you've got live video, but then I go social live, where really, honestly, my kind of weapon of choice on that is Instagram stories. I was quite popular on Snapchat for a while. I really focused in on Snapchat for a while. But the moment Instagram stories came out, it was a no-brainer for me to flip and go over to the dark side, as a lot of people said at the time. There's a nice little Star Wars analogy there. But honestly, why wouldn't I? Because I'd been on Snapchat for a year or so, slowly but surely building this following up organically, which is the best way to do it. But I'd been on Instagram for years doing the exact same thing. And now I went from, you know, an average count on my snaps of probably 800 to 900 per snap to almost tripling it.
Wow.
On Instagram stories. So that's kind of where I do my kind of ad hoc silly things, and you know, I show the behind. Like right now, me and my son are building, to use a Star Wars example, we're building the Lego Death Star set right now. There's over 4,000 pieces in this. It's a bloody beast. But I'm sharing different stages of the build on my Instagram stories, and my followers are loving it right now because they can see this thing kind of growing into what they know as the Death Star. It's a lot of fun.
Well, that's it, isn't it? I guess with these, you know, these live platforms and also these story sharing platforms, it's really good way to, you know, show how things evolve, isn't it? To document your day-to-day business life and that kind of thing, rather
and
than
yeah, for me, that's what I use that type of medium for. It's the behind the scenes stuff. It's the documenting of certain things. Whereas with Facebook Live, for instance, when I go live on Facebook Live, I'm not going there to hang out and have fun. I'm going there to provide value, to coach, to train, to you know, build relationships in the right way. And you know, usually 9 times out of 10, I will tell people that I'm going live on Facebook a couple of days before I plan to do so. I'll also tell them exactly what I'm going to be talking about as well. So, people understand exactly what they can expect when they turn up too. Every now and then, I also will go live unannounced, but I'll still do it in a way where there's some genuine content that's planned that I'll provide then. But then what I do is I'll email my list afterwards, say, hey, I just dropped like a gazillion knowledge nuggets on Facebook Live. You've got to go over and check out this video kind of thing. Or I might mention it on Instagram stories, or I might put a link up, on Twitter. And so these are all the different ways that you can kind of cross promote and have that almost social video ecosystem building at the same time with everything that you're doing.
I have a question, another question for you actually. Hey Vicky, how are you doing? With Facebook Live, do you go live from your business page or from your personal profile? Because traditionally your personal profile is just for friends and family and things like that, but I see that those lines are getting blurred more and more now, aren't they? So where do you get the most traction? Where is it best to go live from?
So that's a really good question. Now, look, I decided a long, long time ago that I was not going to use Facebook for personal things in any way, shape, or form. So I've maxed out my 5,000 friends. Who has 5,000 friends?
Well, you do. I'm sure.
Well, I do, but they're not friends. Like, how can you even call them friends? It's ridiculous, right? So I've maxed out my 5,000 friends. My VA manages my Facebook account. So if you have sent in a friend request and it hasn't been reply to yet, I'm sorry, it's not my fault. I'm passing the buck on that one. It's her fault. But I mean, no, I think that ultimately you're right. The lines have become more blurred. I very rarely share anything personal on either my business page or my Facebook profile. It's just not what I want to use. You'll get more personal stuff from me on Instagram than you will do on Facebook, because I know that I can leave it up on Instagram for 2 days, a week, a month, whatever. But then when I decide to delete that picture from Instagram, it really truly is gone. Whereas on Facebook, other things can happen, can't they? You know what I mean? Like people can, I don't know. It's just, I'm not a big fan of that.
You're right. It worries me as well, having 2 young children. I mean, I want to share pictures of them with my family and my friends who are already on Facebook. But then at the same time, I'm like, oh, now I'm going to delete that because I'm worried that the wrong people are going to see it, because more and more people start following you on Facebook, don't they?
Yeah. And this is what I use, other messenger services for, completely detached from Facebook, is for things like my friends and my my relatives and things like that. Like everybody knows that myself and Pat Flynn are very, very good friends, and we message each other on our iPhones with iMessage every day, and we're always sending pictures and videos of the kids and stuff like that. It's for us. It need to be for the world. You know what I mean? So there's that. But I will say that when I do go live on my page, it's always on my page. I will almost always share it with my profile, either share it on my profile page either as I'm live, or 9 times out of 10 it's after I'm done being live, so people can catch the replay if they want.
So going, I know we're going a little bit over time, but this is too good.
We got a few more minutes. You're good for a few more minutes. Go on.
Thank you. So going live on your business page as well, I imagine that there's benefits for the retargeting afterwards.
Absolutely.
How does that work?
Yeah. Well, I'm no Facebook, advertising guru. I don't claim to be, and quite frankly, I'm not interested in becoming one either. It's way too complicated for my old brain to try and fathom and understand. But what I do know is this: Facebook advertising bloody well works. If you have somebody on your team that can do it well, it can work like gangbusters for everything from getting people just to consume your content on your blog or on your YouTube channel or whatever, to obviously retargeting for people who have either commented on posts, liked posts, watched videos, that sort of type of thing. And really for me, the big thing for me right now is the live video, not just video, but live video audience retargeting. That for me is where the real gold on Facebook is from a business perspective right now. So I will go live, and within a matter of hours, we'll be promoting that live video. But then for the next week and a half or 2 weeks or so, if we have a promotion that's currently going, or if there's a new opt-in magnet that I want to try and attract people to, I can retarget people who watch that video. Like, and please, guys, get ninja with this stuff. Don't just do anything just for the sake of doing it because you can, but get ninja with it. Go live with your 5 top tips to becoming a better dog trainer, if that's your niche. And then for the next week or two, with those 20,000 people that viewed your video because you promoted it, offer them something related to the 5 tips to becoming a better dog trainer. Don't offer them something completely unrelated, right? So ultimately, it's about, it's not just about being consistent, but it's about providing, value in a way that is, I'm not going to use the word calculated because that would seem a little bit stalkery, but, get smart about it, particularly if you're spending money on ad spend. Get smart about what you're doing and how you're doing it. But really, nothing, Lucy, will trump providing value and solving problems at the very core of what we do as entrepreneurs. That's it. We're problem solvers. We're not that great. We're not that great. If you can just provide solutions to people's problems, everything else will work itself out. It really is that simple. And that's all I try and do. I just try and solve people's problems. And if I do it well enough, I'm lucky to put a price tag on it, like I said earlier.
Wow, that's amazing advice. Add value, be consistent, solve problems, and be really ninja about your live video.
A little bit of calculation never hurt no one. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to sort of sit there planning it like, an invasion or anything, for weeks and weeks and weeks or anything like that. But say, on Friday, I'm going to go live. I'm going to talk about my top 5 tips on how to become a great dog walker. And then for that next week, or the dog trainer for that next week, I'm going to go ahead and promote that video because the content's going to be gold. And then for the next week after that, I'm going to retarget everybody that watched that live video with, to get them to my landing page, to opt into my email list by providing them that number one thing that they need right now to train their dog easier, faster, and more completely. It's just, it really isn't rocket science. No. It's just about giving people what they need and want.
This is amazing. This is such amazing advice, honestly. I think everybody watching here is going to be able to go away and understand what they need to do with live streaming, but they will understand better if they come to Social Day and listen to your keynote talk, of course.
Oh, yes.
And just finally, I think there's one question I'd love you to answer, if that's okay, just so that we don't leave Yusuf hanging, because it seems like your top fan here today. Is that right, Yusuf? Any tips on how to repurpose your live streaming video?
Oh, that's a good one. I like that. So, and by the way, let's talk very quickly about the word fan. I'm not a fan of the word fan. I like to think of everyone, and everyone does their own thing, obviously. But for me, I like to think of anyone that consumes what I put out as a friend. And I'm not saying that to be kind of all romantic, and because I don't romanticize business at all. I'm about providing value, and if people consume what I provide and they enjoy it and they get something out of it and they talk nicely about me, and if they tune in regularly to what I'm putting out there, that's more than a fan. That's somebody who actually deserves your time and your attention. And that's why when I get off stage at events, when I'm done keynoting at events and I've got a line that's backed out and there's people holding my book and they want selfies and they want to do all these things, I will stay hours to do that because they've taken time out of their day to come and see me speak live, for example, right? Or to tune into this live conversation, or download my podcast, or subscribe to my newsletter, or whatever it is. So I like friend better. So Yusuf, you got a friend in me, my brother. You better believe it. So to answer the question, and it was a good one as well, how do you repurpose your live streaming videos? Well, what you must make sure you're doing is that you are filming them in HD first and foremost, right? Or you're streaming in HD, whether you're using your phone or whether you're using, this kind of setup where we're using a webcam, make sure that you're broadcasting in HD if you can, because that's the way that YouTube likes it the most, right? You'll get more exposure on YouTube with a HD video than you will do with a standard definition video. And I will also say as well that understand that when you do repurpose a video on YouTube or on any other platform, the BS that goes on at the beginning of a broadcast and at the end of a broadcast, that needs to be edited out. Yeah. Because you want to try and, not only do you want to obviously suck somebody in with a great headline on that YouTube video, but when they click play, if they're not getting pretty much what they've come for almost straight away, then you're going to lose them pretty quickly. I don't know when the last time you watched a video on YouTube was. I do it almost daily, either with my kids or with my wife or myself or whatever. There's all these other videos that you can click on, right? and they're vying for our attention. We want to click on those suggested videos. So you better be serving up what people are wanting to consume. If you're not, they're going to be on their way pretty quickly. So understand that also, that you know what, it's not just about repurposing the content, but it's about doing it in a way that will actually help people consume it in a more easier fashion. So get rid of the banter before you kickstart all the real content. Edit all that out and then get into the content straight away.
Such good advice. It's really, really good advice. Thank you, Chris. And I think as well, like if you look at our screen, mine looks blurry when it's on the thing, and that is because of my internet connection.
Aha, there you go.
Not the camera. So the internet, that's important as well, I would imagine, making sure you've got a decent connection. What can you do if you don't?
Well, unfortunately, because of the very nature of live streaming, you've got to have a good connection. I believe, I might be wrong, but I believe that you need at least a minimum of 2 megabytes up for, to be able to, go live with good enough quality. Yeah. But also, if you are going live with your phone, I believe that you can set it up so that you always record the videos in HD at the same time, or download them in HD after you're doing them live. So that's something, that you can also do as well. Or, you know what? I'm not going to share this one yet. You'll have to come to Social Day. There's a very good little setup that I did when I was doing all my Periscopes, that I wanted to retarget, or rather repurpose my Periscope videos in really good high quality, but I'm not going to share that now. I'm going to leave everybody hanging and say you better get your bottom down to London next month so that you can come and learn what that is, because it's a goodie.
Thank you so much, Chris. This has been really amazing. I've learned so much from you in just this short half an hour, and I'm really looking forward to hearing your keynote talk on the 16th of June.
I'm looking forward to delivering it, very much so.
It's going to be amazing. But before I go, I'd like to know where people can go if they want to find you and find out more about you and all of the wonderful things that we talked about in the beginning that you've done and that you are doing.
Well, I'm all about the personal brand entrepreneur, right? So obviously chrisducker.com is where everybody wants to go. And if you're watching this and you want to if you have any follow-up questions or whatever, just jot them below the video. If you're watching the replay, I'll try and make some time later on this week to get back to them and reply to them. But if you want a really quick one, fire me off a tweet at Chris Ducker and I'll get back to you pretty quickly.
There you go. Thank you very much, Chris. So you can catch Chris on the 16th of June at Social Day. He is going to be the keynote speaker. It is going to be amazing. And you can find Chris at chrisducker.com or at Chris Ducker on Twitter. Thank you so much, Chris. It's been amazing to have you.
It's been all my pleasure, and I look forward to seeing you next month.
Thank you. See you next month.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.